Thought Distortion U. This is the exact matchup this card is in for. Like, this is the reason why this card is in this deck, right? Hello YouTube, or welcome to Fine Dane. Today we are going to have a look at Golos, Tireless Pilgrim in Historic Brawl. This deck aims to win by ramping into Golos, activating him, and then finishing off the opponents with a bunch of extra turns and a ton of value. So, from time to time again, I revisit older popular decks on this channel and see how they do in the current meta. And Golos is a special one in this case because there are a lot of people that think Golos should be banned again, or should be banned in Historic Brawl. And then there are a bunch of people that think Golos is fine. And yeah, let's see how we perform today, shall we? So here is the big idea. Golos, 5 mana, 3/5. When Golos enters the battlefield, we can search our deck for any land, put it onto battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So this, we have a bunch of utility lands like Castle Locthwain to draw us cards. We have Hall of Storm Giants in case we need the beatdown plan. And most importantly, we have the World Tree. I believe you should be able to see it right here. So the World Tree has a lot of irrelevant text on it, but basically if you have 6 or more lands, every land that we control taps for every color. So this is really good at fixing our mana. But obviously, I still want a good mana base in this deck, because in some matchups, we basically, like against permission-based decks, like blue decks, right? Just getting Golos on the field once is going to be a win for us, right? And then I really don't want to just search for mana fixing a lot of the time, right? So I want to have a good mana base even if I don't search for the World Tree. How do we achieve this? Here's the thing. We have all the colors for a pure 5-color mana base, but I just don't think it's worth it to go into red and too deep into white in a Golos deck. Here's the thing. With red, we really don't gain anything at all. So we're like, the only red mana we have in our deck is there for the Golos activation. So something like a Steam Vents. I can play that as an island, obviously, but then we can activate Golos later on with it. So that's basically the idea here. And then we only have 3 white cards in the deck, I believe. Yeah, Farewell, because it is a really good board wipe to just answers most things very, very cleanly. Teferi Time Reveler is really good against the counterspell matchups. And then Swords to Plowshares is just an amazing card to search out if we need cheap creature removal. So white is also kind of a splash. We are a bit deeper into white, right? But so that's why we have the 1 basic. But there is, basically this is a Sultai Golos list. The goal of this deck really is to cast Emergent Ultimatum. And we can search our library for 3 monocolored cards with different names, exiles them, and then the opponent chooses one that gets shuffled back, and we cast the other 2. So a lot of times this will make piles with extra turn, and extra turns. So we just get 2 extra turns. We can keep activating Golos again and again, get a bunch of value that way. We can also just put Professor Onyx into the pile, and now they have the choice. Like, if they now give us only 1 extra turn, we have an Onyx, and we go into an extra turn, and that is going to be pretty disgusting because the opponent will drain out very, very quickly from that point on. Yeah, so this is the basic gist of the deck. In the early game, we just have, good removal. Witness Protection, for example, is really good against decks like Kinnan. Because, remember, we are playing Golos, Tireless Pilgrim, and how the matchmaking in Historic Brawl works is that certain commanders have a weighting, and Golos has basically the highest he is in the highest tier possible. Like, that doesn't mean that we will never ever get to play against certain decks, Well, for some, you know, some decks are really basic. Like, we will never ever match up against Yargle, right? But more importantly, we will see a ton of Winota, Kinnan, Esika, Niv Mizzet, Nika Bolas, those kinds of decks, right? So, like, you kind of have to tech against them, but I wanted to keep this list like as clean as possible without just leaning into basically, you know, abusing the system, if that makes any sense. So yeah, let's see how we do today, and let's see if Golos is really broken or if he is just fine. We are ready to play against Brawl. And let's see, they are on the play, so that's kind of bad for us. This is effectively a 5-card hand. Like, I mean, Brainstorm is pretty whatever. We have our blue mana, green, red. We're missing black, but that can be our Cold Steel Heart. Them being on the play is super brutal. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to search for specific cards in this matchup, like Witness Protection or Wash Away. But I think I just really like the Celestus, because I assume they will just pass the turn a lot of the times, and then we will double spell. We get to filter a ton of cards with it. And I just want to ramp, so this is kind of good. So let's see how this does. Okay, let's play you tapped. Okay, they just played the Brawl on 2. Oh wow. That is so unfortunate. I would have loved to kill that here, but sadly black is the only color we currently do not have. Untapped, that is. Guess it's fine. Okay. I really want to resolve Teferi. How do I do this? I think I wanna foretell the Arun's Epiphany and pass the turn. The reason being that, okay, they're on a very, if they play cards like Limbs of Freedom, they're they're aggressively looking to, you know, counter everything that I have going on. Yeah. So I assume they're going to have at least 2 counter spells. And I want to resolve the Teferi. I really want to resolve the Celestus, honestly, but I assume it's just going to get countered. I would counter it if I were them. Sinister Sabotage. Resolve. Yep. They get to surveil one. They kept on top with the Brawl. This is very much a matchup that is, you know, very, like, Brawl is a deck that really wants to go first. Okay. Discarded spell PS, huh? Very interesting. Found a Conundrum. Yeah, that is not a card I'm too afraid about, honestly. Like, it's really not a card that's too relevant in this matchup, because at the end of the day, we only need, like, time. Like, we have a lot of time against them, right? So, yeah. Okay. So let's see. We started with the Explorer, I assume. Just cantrip that away. Okay. We could Thoughtseize here, but I think I want to end step the Brainstorm, maybe. Just cycle it away. Like, Brainstorm is a card that just sets up our Golos really well, but you know. I don't assume that Golos ever. Oh Oh my god. Ever gets to hit the field. So the Thought Distortion is obviously a great card. I just need black mana for that. So let's see. Do I wanna... Yeah, I guess. Thinking if I should play my land next turn, cast Scheming Symmetry, put either the Thoughtseize or Teferi away and effectively shuffle it with the Scheming Symmetry, draw black source and try to Thought Distortion them. Or if I should wait one land drop, so I get to have the Thoughtseize and the Teferi. This basically always eats a counterspell, and so does this kinda. But I think these cards do very similar things, so I wanna... Like, I really don't feel comfortable just using Scheming Symmetry in this way. It's very much a card that you play before you activate Golos, and then just try to immediately win off of that. But, you know, let's see. They accept this. Okay, they do. So I have to get an untapped black source. I would love to get castle here, but the castle just doesn't do it. I think I want to search for World Tree, as it effectively turns everything into a black source. And I don't want to play this Teferi now, I want to play Thought Distortion and the Teferi afterwards. Okay. And so what they're going to do now, like, it's fine if they mill my World Tree, right? They're going to probably activate the Hypno Rivulet to mill me with 4 cards. Yeah. Well, that sets them back in, yeah, that sets them back. So maybe that wasn't the play. That very likely wasn't the play. But in the end of the day, like, what was I supposed to do? Not draw black? Better lucky than good. Thought Distortion you. This is the exact matchup this card is in for. Like, this is the reason why this card is in this deck, right? Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So they could have, like, return target spell to hand, shuffle target spell into its owner's library. That would work here, but those cards are very rarely played by Brawl because Brawl is a direct payoff for the counter spells. Also, forgot to mention, Brawl, 2 mana 1/3, every instant sorcery they cast costs 1 less, and then they can draw a discard whenever they counter something. Sublime Epiphany, yup. And that is pretty brutal. So they need to top deck action next turn, and if they can't, I just get to play Teferi, and that is extremely good for me in this matchup, obviously. So yeah, Teferi resolves. Now they can't cast spells on my turn. I'm going to bounce the Brawl. I'm basically bouncing just to... Okay, they surrender. I'm bouncing just to draw a card here, and then I get to play Golos as well. Yeah, beautiful. GG. We are ready to play against Kinnan, Bond of Prodigy. And opponent goes first. So if I was going first, I think I would keep this because I have like a turn 1 ramp into like searching possibly for answers. But since the opponent is going first, I'm not sure if this is good enough. Maybe I'm supposed to mull for something like a Swords to Plowshares. Maybe I'm just supposed to not respect the opponent at all after all. Very interesting. I want a mulligan. See what I can get. Okay. Not too great here. Do I want a Brainstorm or a Wishclaw? I don't think I will need a Brainstorm. Okay. At least I have an Inquisition of Kozilek to pick away at their hand here. So let's see what we have going on here. Okay, taking the mana dork, and that should slow them down significantly. Okay. Get to Stomping Ground, and I think I want to take the Hydroid Crazes, prevent them from refueling down the line. Yeah. I just want to keep them off cards. Like, I want to get to a point where they are just not able to cast Vorinclex or Ghalta at all, right? And to do that, I need to prevent them from drawing cards with things like Hydroid Crazes and gaining mana with Elysian Caryatid, because Kinnan is extremely, extremely scary and produces a ton of mana very quickly. I think I definitely want to just play Botanical Sanctum, Cultivate, and then, like, we have white from Rafine's Tower here. So let's see how we do this. I still very much think about the mana I'm going to have in this deck. Like, I just assume that the World Tree will, you know, there are cards that just destroy lands, so yeah, I'm just going to assume that the World Tree is not necessarily going to stick on the field, and I don't even know if I want to get the World Tree, right? Like, I have my mana, so why do I need to get that card? Okay, I could Tameo. I was maybe supposed to grab white there and put it onto battlefield, because I could now Rafine's Tower, solve the equation, and just exile Kinnan. But they don't have anything anyways. Maybe it's just correct to to have Kinnan on the field, because, you know, they just replayed. They don't have anything else to do with their mana. Okay, how do we do this? I'm not sure. I think I have the mana for Ultimatum anyways, but let's just get the World Tree to be safe. Like, a lot of the times it's just World Tree, but like cast Locks when you're going to, you know, pick against something like a control decks to keep drawing cards and whatnot. So yeah, let's see. I wanna I want to Ultimatum next turn, and there are two ways I can do this, either with the Wishclaw or with the Solve the Equation. So if I solve the equation, yeah, I think I'm going for the solved equation, and then I'm going to solve the equation for a Scheming Symmetry. And then I'm going to put Lano Elves and Wishclaw into play, and I'm effectively threatening lethal next turn. Let's see. Because I get to Scheming Symmetry, put something on top. Yeah. Yeah, and they just surrender because they know what's coming. GG. We are ready to play against Torbran. And against aggro, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for against aggro. Nice. We have Swords to Plowshares, we have a Culling Ritual. Culling Ritual is a nice tech card that I'm trying out right now, because this, like, there are turn 4s where you destroy 5 non-land permanents, and on turn 4 you Culling Ritual into Golos, and that is just so disgusting. So I could Breeding Pool here. Oh, I did a mistake. Yeah, I did a huge mistake. Oops. So I was supposed to play the Fabled Passage here. Definitely. Oh my god. Yeah. and now I don't get to play the Signet or the Cobra. Okay, let's see. Okay, Season Pyro enters. Yeah, Pyromancer tribal apparently. Yeah, this was... I don't know what I was thinking, I mean, I wasn't thinking apparently. But it's fine, it's fine. I assume I play this for black. Yeah, black, and then going to play an Arcane Signet. Yeah, pass turn. It's fine like this. If they just play Torbran, I will just source the Plowshares that. So now we don't get hit by a ton of damage. And if we... Again, we missed one land drop here, guys. But if I get to a... Ah, man. No untapped land, huh? Can make my land drop here with the Kami. I really don't want to die, but... I think I'm just taking all this damage anyways, right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there is really nothing I could do here. It's just, not, I mean, sometimes you just have unfortunate draws, right? Yeah, but this should be beautiful next turn. I get to destroy everything except, the Seasoned Pyromancer. That's definitely fine. Okay, and now the disgusting power of Culling Ritual. Yep, seems alright. Culling Ritual. Wipe you. Golos. Play Golos. Yep, take action, and I think I want to fix my mana with the World Tree here. Do I have a land that gives me life? No. I don't think the deck needs one, to be honest. And... Could Agonizing Remorse them. I mean, they're not going to do anything scary if I... Thing is, what are the scary things they could have? A dragon? I have a removal for that. I'm just going to play the Paradise Druid. Play for most upside. And then I can set up for lethal in 2 turns. Solve the equation for something. And then try to win the next turn. Rampaging Ferocidon. Okay, sure. Seismic Wave. Wow. Okay. I think I want to Brainstorm. Hit a land off the top. Play Cobra, play the land, add blue. Play Solve the Equation. I think that's what I have to do. There is a land. I don't think I need the Wash Away. Yeah, I don't have the blue to cast it. So it's just not great right now. The Sculpted Formula seems super slow. Agonizing Remorse just doesn't seem great right now. Either of these are just not going to be amazing, I think, so just play these. Oh yeah. Put them back into the deck. Lotus Cobra. And yep. Wash Away. Oh, I could have used the Wash Away actually. Did I? Yeah, I did use the Swords to Plowshares. Did a permanent leave the battlefield right this turn? Don't think it did. So Fatal Push doesn't work here. I think I just want to solve the equation for a card that helps me get rid of this No. Yeah, I can just grab the wash away again, right? Then just hold it up. Honestly, maybe that was just a play. Just shuffle away one card and keep the Discover the Formula. I could have had any other card than Discover the Formula. Discover the Formula in my hand right now. So I guess I made that mistake. But yeah, that is GG. We are ready to play against Omnath. And Omnath got rebalanced. So, like, he wasn't insane before. In Historic Brawl specifically, obviously in other formats he wasn't breaking them in half. But he was strong, don't get me wrong. But he wasn't an absolute menace. And now, look at my boy. Costing one more, only here in the rebalance formats. I think I want to lead on the Rafine's Tower. Yeah, we're just going to ramp harder than the opponent, right? Like, they're on the play, but... Okay, we're going to ramp exactly the same as our opponent, apparently. Good thing we played our Black Source here for the Infernal Grasp. I think I'm supposed to just... Infernal Grasp it. No reason not to use all my mana right now. Okay. Yeah, I can go Lotus Cobra, Explore, Land Drop, then have 2 mana open again. That seems decent. So we're looking here for 2 mana play, basically. So Lotus Cobra. Mana Tithe me. They can't prevent this from going onto the stack, so that's pretty great. Explore. I think I'm just going to play the Salundi Vision tapped. I just want to keep making land drops, honestly. Untapped land drops. Because if I have an untapped land drop on 5 and an untapped land drop on 6, I play Golos on 5 mana. And then on 6 mana, I am just going to activate Golos. Because I actually have 7 with the land that Golos fetches out of the deck. So I very much assume they have a counterspell. If they have a counterspell and removal for the Cobra, that's kind of troublesome. But I think it's fine. I'm not going to play this tapped and, greed on the 2 life, because this might be something like a, counter on less pace 2 effect, or like pace 1 specifically here. And this also leaves up Fatal Push or Swords to Plowshares off of the Rafine's Tower. Yeah, I literally saw that coming, opponent. Okay. And now, if they play Omnath next turn, I can do Swords to Plowshares in. Okay. We have more counter magic. Sure, I'm going to run my head into that. Like, straight up. Am I? Maybe it's just better to Casualties of War them, right? Yeah, I'm just going to... They are a ramp deck, and I think I just want a Casualties of War, just destroying this land. Yep. Keep them off their precious colors. Well, they still have 1 blue, right? But it's not easy for them. Yeah, now they don't have a land drop. Beautiful. Okay, how are we doing this? I think I want to just chalk this in. Add a black mana, and I just want to play Onyx here, see how they react. And I assume that doesn't resolve. Okay, sure, goes back into the deck, second from top. And I feel, by the way, I feel very validated here in my casualties just for the land, because they missed the land drop last turn. Ooh, what do we have here? Inquisition. Show me. I want to know. That's a Pact of Negation. I take that. It's not so. This is so funny, right? If like they were on 5 lands only, on 4 lands or just on 1 blue, I would just let them have the Pact because they couldn't pay for it. It's just they can't do anything with these other cards. Like a Borrowed Grazer just doesn't matter at all here. Where, you know, they can't put a land into play because they don't have one in hand. And this Increasing Vengeance is not that great anyways. Yeah, and they scoop it up. I just get to outvalue them. GG. We are done with the game, so I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. And Golos Tireless Pilgrim is certainly still a deck in Historic Brawl. Is it ban-worthy? No, I don't think so. Is it the best deck in the format? No, I don't think so. I don't think Golos, like, it's a strong deck, but here's the thing. It is a really good deck against, like, it has a very aggressive win condition, and is very good at forcing itself through the opponent's removal and just, you know, going from point A, starting the game, to point B, finishing the game. Golos has his goal and he just goes straight there, and there is very few things that can reliably stop him. But how do you stop Golos Tireless Pilgrim? We played against a Brawl player, right? And while we won that game, thanks to the power of Thought Distortion in that matchup, Brawl, you want to have a very strong win condition on your side, or excessive amounts of interaction against the opponent. So, you know, something like Mono Red Aggro is usually a really strong deck against you. We just happen to have the best deck card in the matchup in our hand. Mono blue counter spells is usually good against a good deck against you. We just happen to have the best card in the matchup in our hand. Like, we have some tech cards to just absolutely destroy certain matchups, right? But I don't think Golos is impossible to beat. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, if you just want to have disgusting win rates, play my Raffine Reanimator list or the Banned Tempo Rego list. The Banned Tempo Rego list is arguably one of the hardest decks to, you know, ever exist in Historic Brawl, so I don't think you get good performances with that immediately, but the Raffine Reanimator is fairly straightforward. Golos, for me personally, had like a, you know, 60% win rate only, or like 58% win rate. And that's not a lot considering that I have decks with, you know, sample size of 183% win rate, right? I just, you know, especially when I play this deck in private games against other very competitive players, you just get demolished a lot of the time. It's just that the vast majority of players are more into casual gameplay, and this is exactly what Golos preys upon, right? So yes, he is a very strong deck against, you know, the general Historic Brawl player, but is it the best deck in the format? I don't think so, again. And I don't think he should be banned. I think he's in a great place right now that Field of the Dead got banned. I think the deck is overall pretty fun to play. Anyways, didn't prepare this, but we roll with it anyways. If you want to play this deck on a budget, what can you cut? What do you need? And honestly, in the non-mana base, you see a lot of like commons and uncommons, and that's a very good thing, right? But it's the lands. The lands, you need the lands. Do you need all of them? Okay, maybe you can cut this for a different man land to apply pressure. Maybe you don't need the interaction lands. Castle Lockswain is really good against certain matchup, but maybe you can cut it as well. You just want to have a utility land against control, right? And then the rest you basically need. there is nothing around it. Like, yes, you can substitute 1 or 2 lands, but your mana is like the deck is a 5-color deck. Like, okay, it's basically a 3-color deck with double splash, but it's effectively a 5-color deck, and you need good mana in those decks. So you 100% want your mana fixing lands for this list. And then what's actually important in this deck is like, you can't cut the white. I think then you make a few different choices the mana base, like you would cut Shattered Sanctum, for example, but you have to figure that out on your own, guys, because I can't help every single person that asks me for a good mana base and how to do it and whatnot. Like, I tinkered around a bit with this, and I'm fairly certain it's not the 100% perfect mana base for this list, but it's good enough. And yeah, you want sheep removal. Swords to Plowshares is the best here, because like, you have a bunch of tutors and sometimes you just need your 1 mana answer to something. So that's why the Swords is here. You know, Brainstorm is a setup card, Scheming Symmetry is a setup card, but ultimately not that needed. The card you want the most in this deck, honestly, is Emergent Ultimatum, because that's the card you're going to win the game with. And the cards you're going to frequently choose from Emergent Ultimatum are the 3 Exoturns and the Professor Onyx, right? And then, you know, sometimes you're just going to cast a Balagad Recovery if you have like 2 Exoturns already used up and then one of them is in the graveyard. But you get the idea, right? The Emergent Ultimatum, that is the card you are working towards every single game. And, you know, that's why tutors like Scheming Symmetry, Grim Tutor, Wishclaw Talismans are pretty good in this deck. I mean, the Celestus, you could just have any mana rock here, right? Crossbar, I believe, it has a common or uncommon version, right? So no need to craft this in rare. But, yeah, you want your tutors, you want your good ramp. Like, Lotus Cobra can just be replaced by Mana Dork, but like, can do some really nasty stuff, as you've seen in some of the games. Again, from the top end again, just doing this all over right now, sorry. You just want a few big finishers. I'm choosing basically Coma, Jin-Gitaxias, but you don't need specifically these. I think Casualties of War is a, you know, really good card in this deck, because you can just frequently cast it very early on and just set back the opponent. And this is also a card that is extremely good in the mirror, because if they have a creature, Golos, and the land, like, a lot of opposing Golos decks that you will play against are going to fetch the World Tree and are going to have a bad mana base. So you're going to choose Artifact for the Golos, kill their Mana Dork, kill their World Tree, and now they're just super far back and they're stuck with a bad mana base. So that is pretty good. Yeah, like, you can have Farewell, you can have any other big board wipe, right? Something that just swipes up most permanents is something that you need for, you know, those special occasions. But other than that, you can just choose your finishers to actually kill the opponent with. You want a few wipes. I chose to go with the black wipes because I can actually cast them, but if you lean more towards white, you can get a few double white wraths in there. Yeah, I think the takeaway here is, in the interaction, you don't want too much counter magic, because you can't cast that off of a Golos activation, and you are very proactive anyways. You don't have time to hold up mana, because you're going to tap out for cards like Lotus Cobra into ramp, and then like Celestus, and then into the north, for example. Like, you're going to tap out a lot, and that's why counter magic is not super strong in this deck. So I would advise, you know, mostly against counter magic. Like, again, you have some 1 mana great counter magic cards like Wash Away. Those are really good against your bad matchups, like, you know, Brawl, keeping that off the board when they want to play it, even if you are on the draw. So yeah, overall the deck has definitely a lot of flexible moving parts. I just personally think that a Sultai base that tries to turbo out Emergent Ultimatum is going to be, you know, one of the most optimal things you can do with Golos. but it's certainly not the only thing. And if you ever want to build your own Golos list, and even if it's not the Sultai-based version, just try to not go into super 5-color mode unless like you're basically casting 6 or 7 drops, and try to not rely on the World Tree, because like that will just invite you to get, you know, if land destruction hits you, and it will hit you eventually, especially in these Golos mirrors, then you want to be prepared for it. You want to have a solid mana base, and yeah, you probably want to be in green if you have Golos. Like low end, you want to be in green. Just get your Boreal Grazers, Kamis, Llanowar Elves, just Explorers, just get those lands into play, and then cast whatever you want of Golos. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's deck list. If you did, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.